This month, Doctors Against D&D are teaming up with the rest of the Doctors and Dragons Network to raise funds for Beyond Blue. Mass Healing Words, our charity drive this year, is on at Tiltify. Search Doctors and Dragons. This is your chance to donate and name an NPC or create an item for your favourite adventurer. Join already great items like the Scone of Sconeversation or the Rock of Multiple Calls. Trigger warning. This episode contains themes of slavery and human trafficking in a fantasy world.
Your shift's nearly over, don't pick up the phone. There's a lot in the tavern, and it calls you home. And the boy that you were is the man that you'll be when you take up your sword and adventure with me. Adventure with me. So lay down your tools, pick up your sword. You don't need no money, just walk out the door as the mist fall around us. Will you answer the call? And they won't even notice that you left at all.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the Order of the Shattered Sigil. It's been a little while since we last met, and it's almost entirely due to my own life getting in the way. But having sorted out my phylactery and getting it to sleep early tonight, we're ready to go. So we might just recap where we left off. All those months ago, our intrepid adventurers were called to provide security at the ball for the Amnian delegation, which had sort of been partly hijacked to provide some political statements about some legislation, some tightening of security measures and so forth that were happening across the Lord's Alliance in the wake of a series of terror attacks by the Black Accord, a cult of some mystery. Our adventurers embedded in different personas. We had embedded in the band and demonstrating a newer and softer side perhaps than we're used to, and Harold was embedded as Lord Bibbith. There was Bibbith.
Bibblewhip Thistledown the Third.
Bibblewhip Thistledown. There you go. And hobnobbing amongst the elite as he's wont to do, and Ophion working with one of the consul magisters. We discovered a body in a barrel. We discovered an imposter guard. Harold had either some well-timed or well-faked bladder discomfort, and you were able to get ahead of at least one of those suspects, and in fact largely abort what would have been a fairly catastrophic attack, although there were some deaths, as the Alliance was saying in the days after. No one of significance was killed, but the main culprit, this Pale Lark, this masked figure that jumped into the roof and disappeared, has been hunted for some time. So we're going to jump forward in time, roughly the 6 months that it's been since we last played. The manhunt continues. There has been no real headway in catching the person responsible, and in fact attacks by the Black Accord have escalated, and there was an attack on a major sort of public festival that resulted in the very public hangings, or at least attempted hangings, of some cult members who escaped in a daring sort of daylight affair, which was followed by worsening or increasing of these draconian laws. And over the last 6 months, we found that the Swords Coast has sort of descended into what could only really be described as an authoritarian sort of government with arcanists and even clergy being asked to register movements between cities really stopped, and any sort of outspoken members of the public rapidly dealt with in what could only be described as a fairly violent and aggressive sort of manner. So, over that 6 month period, what have you guys been up to?
Harold probably would have taken a short little retirement, just as a break from all of the comings and goings of the city, and probably would have just tried to what's it go on the lamb a bit.
Yeah. Who are you robbing?
Well, no one robbing per se. I think he's probably robbing one of the local guards and just gaslighting him during this entire time, like stealing the guards, like weapons, and then somehow magically ends up on the roof. And the guard knows that it's Harold, but can never prove it, and makes this particular guard paranoid to the rest of the people in his garrison.
This does seem like a real waste of your talents, but to each their own. So Harold takes a bit of a reprieve from the back-to-back operations and has a bit of a quiet down period, and undoubtedly during this period, all of you are called on for different tasks and assignments for the sigil as we go. But what else? What did Malixis do?
So Malixis has continued his private journey with the assistance of Murray, who is also a member of the Shattered Sigil, to increase his literacy. He's now able to read at a fairly sort of a grassroots fundamental level, but wouldn't be considered highly educated. He can do his basic sounds and string simple sentences together. He's finding that he's able to read simple things, but he's still struggling with more complex articles, and he is still searching for the original owner of his childhood manacles.
Mm-hmm. And Ophion, what has...
Well, Ophion has been continuing to fund his life by scribing at the larger libraries and temples, as he was doing before the Shattered Sigil employed him, and continuing in whatever spare time he has is his so far fruitless search to discover who stole his grandfather's relic
stuff?
from the tribe in the north. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been using whatever spare funds he has to try and bribe increasingly higher members of the Thieves Guild for information, because the lower ones have been warned off sharing any information. So the search continues.
How many of those Thieves Guild people were actually Harold in disguise?
My question is that would Harold actually know Ophion's doing this? Because if he did, he probably would just say, "Why are you paying all these people? Pay me, I'll get you the information you need."
I suspect that you probably have I don't think it's a secret.
It's not a secret, no.
No.
I have been warned off by higher level Thieves Guild members to let the matter drop, but I'm persisting for the honor of the family.
Well, I suppose I could always use my level of contacts and have a chat with some other higher up members. Maybe I do have a line with Nine Fingers.
Nine Fingers. Haven't been able to get a meeting with Nine Fingers.
You'd be losing a lot more. You'd be needing to give up a lot more than 9 of your own fingers if you wanted a meeting with her. But I have worked for the guild for a while. I think she would pick up a message from a sending zone if I sent one.
I am awaiting your introduction, and because so far my research and obviously my bribes haven't been nearly enough to get the information I need. I suspect it's some sort of noble who has the staff, and they're using their influence to keep it from me.
Oh, I mean, we don't even have to say like that you're looking for it. We can say that we have a prospective client that's looking for a staff who's willing to pay a lot of gold, and I'm sure we could hustle up a bribe of hustle up some sort of guild approved item relocation thing.
Roll a Dave. Roll a persuasion with advantage, and we'll come back to the result of that later on.
Yep, that's 1 and that's 2. So that is. So what was the first? It was the first one was 11 plus 6, so that would have been a 7. Is that 17?
Yes.
Yep. Cool.
Okay.
I forgot that D&D does all the math for me. Yep.
Yeah. Good times. All right, I'm going to write that down so that I remember to come back to that, because we have some other things to get to. So you all have been sort of partaking of different things, and there hasn't been humongous cause to get the band back together. There was perhaps one brief occasion in the last months where you all did come together to foil what was an attack on Lady Aurelian, who's an elven sorceress, a noble of some repute, and I guess a people's person. She's often considers herself much to be a lady of the people and involved in charitable things, and quite outspoken about the various security measures that were happening. You guys were able to step in and stop an assassination, although publicly the credit for that went to Sir Kaelan Mur, the knight commander of the task force charged with hunting down the Black Accord. And you are all briefly assembled in Waterdeep when different pieces of information reach each of you separately. For Harold, you become aware through your network and your connections that an old contact of some importance, who would not normally be foolish enough to come to the Lord's Alliance himself, an orcish crime lord, Gorzol Kesh, is rumoured to be arriving in the next day or two, if he hasn't in fact already arrived. And it strikes you as quite unusual. You put out some feelers to get a little bit more information about that. At about the same time, Ophion being tasked with, not so much being tasked, but leveraging the previous relationship with the Magister to stay in the loop, hears tell that Black Accord cultists are thought to be not remaining in the city limits, that they frequently enter for their attacks and then leave, and it's making it quite hard to police them. The immense crackdowns and door-to-door searches and checkpoints and registrations and so forth are not really causing them any slowing down. And the question was asked about how they could possibly be getting entry to the city despite heavily fortified gates and walls. And you hear tell in the Magister's office that there's perhaps some concern that the wards, which would normally have made it fairly impossible to penetrate the sewerage, sanitation, water supply system beneath the city, have been inconsistent, and no one's been able to explain that particular abnormality. And that right at this very moment, an abnormality does appear to be affecting the entire city's water supply in terms of the protections on it not currently working. And Malixis in fact, in following a lead on the owner of his manacles, hears tell that in fact a significant person in the slave trade, which is quite illegal for the most part in Lord's Alliance, but a well-known, notorious slaver is rumored to be arriving in town, and you also put out some word about this person that you think might have some clues, I guess, about your manacles. And that brings us to the southwest gate of the city at a little after dawn on I could never get my head around the days of the week and the time, but let's call it a Thursday. It feels like a Thursday. It's kind of not quite the weekend. And the city gates are closed. They closed the gates now after hours, all but the Lord's Gate. And you, all for your own purposes, without really intending or having coordinated it, seem to have arrived roughly in the same place at the same time. And you meet each other at a quite a tavern, but sort of a market stall on the side of the road, a guy selling, hot beverage and various sort of savoury treats for the breakfast rush. And you happen to come across each other.
Harold would be behind the bar already, pretending to be one of the wait staff, just so he can keep an eye on the situation and have access to sharp knives or implements that behind the counter. Order up for table 2. They're wanting some extra fries and a catch of the day.
Roll a performance check.
Yep. So apparently, because of my actor background, I get to roll an advantage because I'm passing myself off with someone else. So 1, that's 13, and number 2, 13 as well.
Lucky 13. Okay. He, the owner of the kitchen, the owner sort of puts his head out and looks a bit strangely at you and shakes his head a little bit. Okay, and goes off. One catch of the day and extra chips coming up for table 2.
Did you say it's the morning?
It is the morning. It is literally
breakfast,
like
fish and chips.
Barely dawn.
And what he's doing is that then when Harold gets a catch of the day, he's bringing it to Malixis's table because he sees Malixis look like,
Malixis is actually trying not to draw too much attention to himself in the corner.
Roll a stealth check.
Yeah.
7-foot crocodilian in the quiet breakfast nook. Yep.
It's a nat.
Harold actually just walks past and drops some fish and chips at another table. And for this brief shining moment, you have an opportunity to do something stealthy that the rogue might not notice.
Lovely.
I just slither my tail forward so that he trips over.
Dexterity saving throw.
Dexterity saving throw. That's a 15.
He stumbles. It's not perhaps as comical as when you did it to the Chancellor of the Lord's Alliance, but
it's his signature move.
Definitely a trip, and that moment where you have a brief moment of concern because Harold is of an age where a substantial fall would probably require a cleric, but here we are. The three of you have a moment to catch up and talk about what's been going on, the odds and ends, and things that have been progressing, sharing what information you have. When again, quite unexpectedly, from at least your perspective, a tall, regally dressed hobgoblin enters the establishment and sort of quite a pompous sort of voice. You recognise Sir Percival, who's the ensign, the quartermaster, and oftentimes background support for you on the Sigil. And he saunters over to you like he expected you all to be there, and he bows politely to each of you, and gives you each a gift from Arik, because normally we would do this in a briefing room, and normally he would have a gift, and so for Harold there is chilled flask, which you suspect probably contains some elven wine. For Eon, there is an address on a piece of parchment, and there is a small tome. It would be kind of extending the level of comfort of your reading, but it is essentially this world's equivalent to The Art of War, sort of some Sun Tzu type stuff.
I was probably more expecting like Animorphs level, but that's all good.
Yeah. Well, look, he's a noble guy, so when he thinks you're learning your letters, he thinks you should start there. So Percival gives you these. He says, "Gentlemen, it's dark times indeed. Do you know where you're headed today?"
Before we get to that, Harold then straightens himself, checks his notebook, and says, "Do you have a reservation with us today, sir? If you do not, if you don't, we are fully booked. I apologize, but you could come back in half an hour. Would that work?"
Percival looks at you and briefly sort of considers this, and then says, "Oh, you should know. You should check the register. It's a reservation for Lockridge for four persons." And you actually wander back over to the desk, and you find that in fact there is like no one else. There's no other reservations for the whole place in the whole day. But there is a neat reservation for Lockridge plus 4.
I was like, yeah. Very good,
Ophion
sir.
will scrape to the side all of his loose papers that he was perusing while eating a fish sandwich in one hand. So he's going to push all of the paperwork to one side and kind of shuffle over so there's space on his side of the table for the little goblin.
He smiles quite fondly at this relatively unprecedented show of affection from the team, and he sidles up. He says, "To understand that there's quite a lot of interesting comings and goings occurring from the camp just outside the gate. And you guys would know over the last months, as migration has slowed, as various sort of draconian security measures have kicked in, there's a substantial displaced population living outside in shanty towns, in sort of refugee type camps. There's people who've been displaced from within the town, travellers who weren't permitted entry, those people who fear for their lives under the current regime, and then of course all of those sort of ne'er-do-wells who look to take advantage of such an arrangement. So these little shanty towns have popped up everywhere, almost outside every gate. But he goes on, he says, there's some interesting people believed to be coming through the camp today, and rumours of a number of people have reached our ears, and amongst those believed to be passing through the camp include some operatives of the Accord, including an old friend of yours, the Pale Lark. I believe now, because Sir Kalen gives sort of a weekly press update at which he announces every week that he is this close to capturing the Pale Lark, and he's really just letting him get away because of the tactical benefits and other things that the public wouldn't really understand. The reward is up to 5,000 gold now. It's sort of been escalating a little bit. So Pale Lark is believed to be passing through the camp. It's unusual. We haven't had many sightings of him that have been this reliable in terms of the information. It'd be unusual to see him coming back to such a hotbed of activity. And so I believe, and he sort of looks at Harold's and at Malixis, that you're both seeking. Actually, I suspect that you're both seeking the same person. And when you guys have a moment to compare notes, it does in fact become clear to you that the Orcish crime lord that is Harold's contact is also a renowned slaver, and this Gorzol Kesh is believed to be currently doing some business in a little refugee camp outside of town. And Percival says, "Well, I wonder if perhaps we could kill a few." And he looks briefly at Harold and Harold's birds and changes the metaphor he was about to use, and says, "Kill a few cultists with one stone." He says, "The gate passing in and out of town has become problematic, even for officials on some government business, depending on who seems to have the ear of the local captain. He's been able to secure you a writ from the local barracks that does allow you to have free entrance through the gate in the daylight hours today. But he said there's nothing beyond that. There's no guarantees that if you stay out longer than that, that you can get back in through a legitimate pathway. People are being sort of stopped, and currently there's really no traffic flow into town at all, except for very important people who come in, the kind of people who come with big carriages and envoys and so forth. So that's the setup. And you guys have a few moments while Harold is cleaning up the next table over.
And sorry, Gorzol Kesh is...
So Gorzol Kesh is Ophion probably doesn't know a humongous amount. He is an old contact of Harold's in various sort of capacities as both client and supplier and competitor at various points in time. But he's also known to be in he trades in a number of things, one of which happens to be servitude.
Okay.
And so that is something that is of interest. Malixis was put on that trail in following up some of his own personal things, and Harold, because it would be very unusual for a character such as this to surface in a populated area.
So Percy, am I to understand that Gorzol Kesh, you mentioned his name, is no longer providing as useful information as he once was? Perhaps his time on this earth can be decided upon by Malixis?
I suspect that should you come across the man, so I believe that there are warrants for his immediate capture, and certainly in some jurisdictions his summary execution. I think in every city from here to the gate, and possibly I think even over the seas. So I don't think that you would have any problems should something accidental or unfortunate occur.
And the reward would be dead or alive, or?
I believe that there is a reward for him, and then obviously we're all interested in the whereabouts of this Pale Lark, this cult mastermind who has eluded the best that our government has to offer for the last 6 months.
Yes, well, I'm sure Malixis will be very adept at getting all of the information that this Mr. Kesh has. I'm sure he'll be very willing to talk.
Mhm.
Alexis, you're muted.
That was so you couldn't hear me chewing. I won't be upset if he doesn't survive, but I do also really want to see if we can get some information out of him first.
Harold asks Percy if he knows whether or at least he would check whether with his contacts whether the guild would have any objections to this member of the Thieves Guild being potentially murdered. Well, maybe not in those words. It's like, is there any is there any sort of retaliation or protection that the guild is giving off?
I believe he's certainly a member of the Guild of High Standing and significant influence, but as you generally get to such places of influence by accumulating a list of enemies, it would certainly behoove you to not be identified as the party responsible. We can certainly arrange any reward to be claimed anonymously if required.
Howard just nods knowingly and then goes back to clearing the table.
Do we have any information on where he actually is in the Shantytown or of any known associates?
No, he's, Harold obviously has some connections, but it was unclear to whom he would be meeting, and so it's unclear who he's here to see or why he in fact has come so close to town. He's not known to have sort of ventured near a Lord's Alliance city in probably 10 years. So it is a bit unusual.
Harold goes, I think we should just probably hit the town running and give it a shake and see what comes out.
Yeah.
Right. If you guys are all happy with that plan, I will just pop
before that.
Yeah.
Everyone leaves. Harold goes to raises his hands.
Shakes the tip jar.
Shakes the tip jar, and also goes. Also, take away for table 2. Pot of coffee ready to go.
And the owner, he serves you quite a like a thermos. It's a sort of an insulated sort of ceramic thing. It's got a little screw-on cap. It's got the name of the place on there. It's just Grug's Coffee Shack. But it's kind of like his branding needs some work. But you get a thermos of coffee to take over to table 2, and then do you guys leave? So several minutes later, he's come out looking for the wait staff, and he's like, okay. So you guys head on down, and you join what is a relatively short queue of people at this time of the morning lined up to leave the city. Because everyone leaving the city is being searched and questioned and having to present their papers. Certainly not as invasive as for those coming into the city, but you notice that there's certainly still a degree of inquisition that's being applied to people. But it's To Percival who sort of escorts you to the gate, hands this writ to each of you, and show this, and you sort of, it's like a fast pass. You kind of get the express lane treatment. Nobody asks any questions of you on the way out, and Percival nods again to you, and he says, I will be nearby. Perhaps I'll station myself near Grug's coffee shop, although I don't know if he paid the tab or not, so maybe I'll pick a different coffee shop.
You can,
but
I'll be close.
close.
There's always
by.
Starbucks across the road.
Starcast.
Yeah, they are popping up everywhere these days.
Quality's
But,
nowhere near as good though.
So he's going to be close by. He's going to be inside the walls. Should he be required? The Shantytown's probably only a couple of 100 meters away from the gate, so it's not far away. If something was to happen, he would be in range of the messaging. So as you leave the gate, which is the sort of north end of this map, you guys pass through the gate, and then outside the gate is a checkpoint that's clearly set up to deal with people coming into town. And Malixis, at the very least, has probably passed through this checkpoint before in the last few weeks. And even for you, who's been traveling recently, it looks to have grown in size, and they've added layers of fortifications, and what was originally some guards on the side of the road is now there's sort of a shelter tent and some palisades, and they've even got like a little wooden sort of boom gate blocking the road. And you see that there are two city watchmen, one an officer of some kind, and there are two men in more fine military attire wearing tabards, indicating that they are working for or somehow empowered by the Lord's Alliance. And you recognize these are mercenaries that have been pressed into service all around, up and down the coast, in order to enforce these laws. This sort of standing army has been pressed into service. So these mercenaries are often sort of military veterans, or in some cases members of the underworld. But there's plenty of them around, and they're largely rent-a-cops with little concern about causing judicious violence if required. There seems to be no retaliation for extrajudicial beatings and overly exuberant arrests. In fact, that does seem to be getting them some bonuses even. And so you briefly stop at this checkpoint to allow a carriage to pass you, and it's a carriage. There's a cleric and a driver on this carriage, and you can hear the cleric, as they pass you, sort of bemoaning the fact that they were stopped. It was only a few weeks ago the church and the holy orders and were sort of exempted from these type of things, but now everyone's being stopped and everyone's being searched regardless of their background and so forth. Do you want to stop at this checkpoint or get any talk to these people at all, or should we continue down the road to the Shantytown, which you can smell it and hear it before you can see it? It's probably about 100 meters down the road.
Harold would like to stop and talk to some of these guards.
You want to talk to the local guys, the mercenary dudes?
Harold will probably talk to the local. Local guys. We'll talk to the local guys. Yep.
So there's sort of the sergeant. He's wearing sort of sergeant's attire, and in fact, he appears familiar to you. I don't think you don't remember specifically having crossed paths with him, but he's obviously been in the service for some time, and so you've probably seen his face at something. There's the sergeant, and there's a young sort of guardsman who's standing underneath the shade tent, having some water and some morning sort of rations. The sergeant he's got some dwarven lineage. He's a very stout, broad sort of humanoid. Big beard, big belly, sort of lightly armored, but looks like he's still, in reasonably good strength. And he nods at you. Good morning, grandfather, he says.
Yep. Harold trains himself up, smiles, and says, "Name's Oswald Pritchard, Senior Compliance Officer, Auditor for the Office of Civic Revenue and Emergency Compliance." He folds out a clipboard and goes, "Just a routine procedural verification."
Oh, you're from the Office of, Civil Revenue and Emergency. Yeah, you must know Schmitty.
Must know Schmitty. Schmitty's a bit of a... I think he can talk someone's mouth off a little every now and again. Either way, but either way, we are...
morning, Mr. Oswald.
So we're just doing a bit of verification of any slightly pointed fingers towards the near at the gate of those the new people brought on, and just seeing whether they meet standard practices and obeying procedure as well.
Roll a deception check for me, and if you can roll with advantage because of the active feat. While you're doing this, what's everyone else doing?
I'm trying to use this time to sneak past them, considering that they are distracted. So I'm just going to try and walk through as though there's nothing wrong.
Yeah. Okay. That was a nat 20. I think
that was a
nat 20 was the first one.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So it's just Schmitty. He's a bit of a character, but so look, he speaks fairly quietly to you. Doesn't want his voice to carry substantially. These mercenaries, they come in, they send new people every day. They just do what they want. They seem to have no regard for the law and order or for the common folk. Or it's half of the job is really keeping them in line, to be honest. These guys seem okay. Like these guys I've not met before. They're new to this rotation today. They seem fairly quiet. They haven't really said very much. They arrived this morning. They brought a cage, which is new because we haven't really had to detain that many people here. But they brought a cage out, that's what else can I tell you for your audit?
Yeah. Have you seen them letting in or letting anyone out that probably should have needed a bit more of a thorough check?
Oh no. It's been a quiet sort of morning. We're not allowed really to let anyone in at the moment, except the really important types of people, the lords and ladies and noble folk, and certainly it is a problem with some of these mercenaries on the gates. It seems that depending on who is on the gate, you may be able to buy yourself entry to town. But we've only, as I say, let that cleric that just passed you, that's the first carriage today, and we've turned away a couple of people this morning. But at the moment, we're not accepting routine entry to the city.
You said at the moment. Has anyone abnormal passed in the last few days? Any of the other unsavory mercenaries might not have let someone through without checking their papers thoroughly?
Oh, look, I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but
no, absolutely not.
Look, I know that a lot of the bribes that have been happening it doesn't seem to be happening so much at this gate. It seems to be the Lord's Gate and other places. The traffic here seems to be mostly merchants and farmers, and because we're really turning most of them away, most of them don't have the right papers. We don't have a humongous amount of trouble here.
Okay. And no one else comes to mind? Anyone more different?
Not coming through the gate. No, this gate's been
okay.
I think I could
Alright.
count on one hand the number of times we've opened the gate in the last week.
Is interested in this wagon with the cleric in it because he thinks he overheard conversation saying that this is the first cleric that's been allowed through in several weeks, and he's also ears perked up a little bit at the comment of some sort of cage. Was the cage in the wagon with the cleric, or the
No. So there's a cage on the ground behind these guards, which is sort of I don't know. It looks like you could fit a person comfortably, although you suspect that if you were being incarcerated in it, there'd be more than one. There's sort of more than one spot for manacles, and it's sort of just parked behind the tent there in case they need to detain anyone for any period of time without letting them into the city. Roll a perception check.
Yeah, so
about the
Ophion is
cleric.
interested in this and why this cage is newly arrived, and if they have any interest in any particular person, and also interested in the lack of clerics or how this cleric is suddenly
So roll perception for the cleric for
F5.
Okay. So what you heard, the cleric was sort of saying that there have been some religious travel allowed, but really only those sort of orders that are well connected. Today is the first day that they've been stopped and searched. It's generally held that those of holy orders, the sort of the clerics and the paladins, generally are like inviolable. They have fantasy world diplomatic immunity type stuff. They generally poor form to frisk search the paladin. But this cleric was stopped and fairly rigorously searched, and that's probably all you really get for that. Now the cage. So you guys Harold's talking to one of the guards, and the mercenaries are kind of eyeing this conversation, which is sort of happening in hushed tones, and there's a clipboard involved, and they're sort of eyeing this. You've got their attention, and the young guardsman is sort of still eating and drinking his rations, lacks the passive perception to notice really much of anything. If you wanted to investigate the crates and the cage that these mercenaries have brought with you, you would have to sort of deliberately walk over to it. It would be fairly obvious unless there was a substantial distraction.
Speaking of distraction, Malixis was trying to sneak past the guards while all this was happening. I want to see what happens.
Oh, Malixis kind of walks down the road, and the two mercenaries are completely occupied by watching this audit from civil revenue occurring, and they're briefly confirming in their heads that they've completed their timesheets correctly and so forth. But there's not even any role here. No one really pays attention to the 7 foot crocodile man walking down the road. They're less worried about at this point you leaving than you coming back. So anything else that you want to garner from these people or this place before we meander on down?
Can I make my way over and pat their warhorse?
Yeah. So you're gonna kind of wander over to the cage and use the sort of fine looking animal, bit of a pat on the. Yeah, okay.
I'm going to pat the warhorse and maybe talk to it a little bit whilst eyeing off what's behind it.
Give me an animal handling check.
That's going to go real well.
Oh,
it's actually a 4 because I've got a -1.
The armored 15-hand, like most of a ton warhorse kind of like whinnies and gets a bit sort of skittish. Doesn't sort of kick out at you and seems to sort of settle down after a minute or two, but it's enough to attract the attention of the two mercenaries who and the Slade, who's the one closest to you, sort of turns in and says, "Can I help you there, sir?"
I just turned to Slade and I was like, "Sorry, I was just admiring this beautiful horse, and work's a little bit thin on the ground, and it doesn't look like you guys are actually employed by the city per se. Are you mercenaries?
We are special police of the Lord's Alliance. We were sworn. We did completed a rigorous training program, which after that 4 hours was finished, we were given badges and dispensation to enforce these new Aegis laws. So we're official agents of the Lord's Alliance. Yeah.
How'd you get that gig?
There was a lot of word of mouth, ex-military types. These guys don't look ex-military. People from civil service and other things like these kind of people with appropriate training and skills. And you get the strong impression just looking at the two of them that this seems like there might have been a flyer on a wall at a tavern somewhere, with a bit of like an Uncle Sam sort of, we need you
Situation.
type situation.
Yeah, cool. So pretty easy. Are they still hiring? Do you know?
I think like it's competitive. We had to take a test and you had to go through it was an interview, although that was mostly how much ale you could drink after you pass the test. But I believe that they're still looking for people. It's hard to keep up with demand lately with all of these criminals and so forth, and all of this cult activity. Got to keep the people safe.
Yes, being safe is important.
Yeah.
While I'm chatting to them, can I look at the cage?
Yeah, absolutely. Roll an investigation check for me.
Also going to go so well.
Metal cage. It's not the worst cage that you've seen or probably even been in. A couple of sets of manacles, no obvious sort of blood or anything
kind of
really sort of jumps out at you. Yeah, nothing that sort of jumps out.
Just kind of smile and nod and say, "Nice cage," and just walk off.
Fresh looking.
Oswald then approaches the mercenary and then goes, "You do realize that he just walked past your entire checkpoint and you did nothing to stop him." Then he pulls out the clipboard and starts writing again. This isn't looking good.
Oh, look. This lady turns to the other mercenary, who seems to be kind of the more senior of the two. He goes, "Look, Mr. Coral, this halfling man, he can write his letters. You'd get a promotion." Yeah, whatever you said to him really didn't seem to land. You didn't seem to really process it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, are we all done?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys meander down the road, and you just clear some fog of war. So, in fact, I'm going to just reveal it all because I don't want to keep flicking back and forth between screens. So you guys meander down the road, probably about sort of 10 meters outside this checkpoint. There's a couple of big signboards, and these are sort of posted with the various regulations and laws that have, and it looks like, every day or two something new's been stapled up over the top of the old things. There's a wanted poster there for the Pale Lark that's had its reward revised 5 or 6 times, and various other things. There is a new posting. It looks sort of the most fresh posting on the board is that all wagons will be subject to thorough inspection, and nobility station or divine purpose is no longer a lawful excuse, and failure to comply is punishable by arrest and imprisonment. You see that, and then there's also some sort of smiling posters of Sigil and Mer with sort of little catchy phrases like "see something, say something," "be alert, not alarmed," "you too can stop the cult," type messages that are there. And so we walk on down, and you get maybe another 200 meters down the road, and you see. You pass through a bit of a forest. You can hear the sound of running water off to the east, off to your left, right of screen as we come down, and then we come to what is undeniably going to be the town, or the little village that's popped up. And there's a few other signs and posters and things along the way. And this is you see a sign as you kind of stop here that says. Stop here if you don't matter, written in sort of a handwritten sort of scroll, and you can see that this little Shantytown, which the last time any of you passed through was a couple of tents on one side of the road, has burgeoned into this sort of enormous sprawling thing on both sides of the roadway. There's maybe 20 or 30 tents. There's some sort of semi-permanent wooden structures. There's bustling. There's the sounds of people going about their morning daily activities and things. And so as you guys arrive into this area, which I'll just I have to swap screens and drag you around, but you guys all arrive into this area looking at this sprawling situation in front of you. What do you want to do next?
Harold's going to look for a tavern, because where there's a town, there's a tavern. So by that logic, if there's a shanty town, there must be a shanty tavern.
Okay, roll an investigation check.
Okay. This is probably not
going
to
to
go
roll with
super
advantage. Oh no, you don't even need it. Never mind. That's -1 for intelligence. There you go.
Yeah.
It doesn't take you very long to see. There's a large tent which has got. It's kind of surrounded by oak casks and wine barrels and so forth, and you even kind of see what looks like a rudimentary sort of still underneath some canvas. So the tavern sort of area is this big tent here, and there's an older human lady out the front and a younger human man. As you sort of walk through this, you see there's a number of people. There's maybe sort of 10 or 15 people on this side of the town that you can see easily from where you are.
So Harold approaches these two humans who look like they could be the owners and goes, Oswald Pritchard, Senior Compliance Auditor for the Office of Civil Revenue and Emergency Compliance. Now, I understand that you're running a tavern in this shanty town. He flips open his clipboard. Yep. Do you have a license to serve alcohol at these premises?
So you find yourself talking to Maeve. Maeve is, she would be in her 50s. She's sort of a very matronly sort of woman, giving sort of grandmotherly type vibes almost. And she looks at you and she goes, "Civil Revenue, hey? One of Schmitty's friends."
Can I just quickly, can I distance myself from this?
Yeah.
And stay over here.
That's a good call.
I've set up as a busker, and I pull out my viola and I just start playing some little
Okay.
Sort of
All right. So you're gonna play some. You're gonna play some tunes. Okay.
some
All
little
right.
folky kind of music.
All right. So you're gonna sit over there. Ophion, this is your chance to bail out of Harold's adventure. Oh, okay. Maeve says to you, "You're one of Shmi's people. You should know then that we are up to date on our account with the Office of Civil Revenue." And she looks very plainly at you. And you tell Schmitty that if he sends another underling here before the end of the month, they won't come back.
Well, you see, Schmitty's been let go, unfortunately. He's made a number of errors, and we've been asked to recheck all of his work. So I am going to just have a check of the premises and just make sure everything is up to code.
I see.
And then Harold goes looking around the premises, inspecting the barrels.
As you start to sort of walk around, she looks over at the sort of the younger man, the farmer sort of looking guy. It's very, very very peasant sort of clothing, tunic and breeches. And this guy, he's a pretty sort of stocky human guy, skin, like leathered sort of skin. So he goes, "Are you all right, Ma?" And she says, "This Mr. Oswald is from Schmitty's people and is giving us a bit of trouble. Can you go and get Braca?" "Okay, Ma." And you see him turn around and he kind of whistles. And this 8-9 foot tall, let's say Goliath would be putting it polite. Like you've worked with Ophion for a while, and there's certainly plenty of Goliaths around, but this Goliath might not be, half giant might be a better term. He's enormous. You can see him. He's been around the site. He's been loading and unloading kegs and changing kegs, moving things around, and he kind of lumbers over to stand next to the matron and this farmer, who are all now giving you a bit of a glare.
Yeah. Harold continues to pretend to inspect things.
Would like to ask Maeve. He's like, I'm very interested in the distilling process. I wonder if you've what mash you're using, what kind of where did you get the apparatus? I wonder if I might try and make this work a little bit smoother for you, maybe a bit more productive, or maybe increase the proof a little bit. I'm quite interested in the whole processes.
Roll a persuasion check.
I will fail miserably. I'm still learning about. I've just picked up the book on operating a still.
Between these two things occurring in sort of short succession, I'm going to get both of you to roll an insight check here, and we'll take the highest result.
Okay. Let's see. So 14.
1 again. Just keep digging deeper.
Yeah,
stupid.
Yeah, you guys, tell me more about your illegal still in front of the compliance guy.
I'm trying to help. That's right.
With a 14 insight, Harold, your danger sense is tingling that there's a fair chance that this lady may just choose to end you in this relatively lawless Shantytown, and then just apologize to whoever is your successor.
Harold then just finishes pretending to check things, and he goes, "Okay, so," he goes to, what's her name? Mabel?
Maeve. Yep.
Maeve. He goes, "All right, Miss Maeve, we have just having a look at your place. There are a number of defects that I've noted. For one thing, this tent is entirely not up to code. A good sneeze may bring us down. And also, having a look at your wine, there's wine in the mead barrels, mead in the wine barrels. There is a lot of issues I can see, and especially to rectify. And I think according to the current code, we would have to fine you about 500 gold pieces. Now, and then he leads in close to the Maeve. I'm sure we can work something out between the two of us.
She looks at
I'm
you.
sure. Yeah.
She looks at
Now, yep.
the half giant and the farmer, and then at the scholarly Goliath who's still opining about distilling processes.
Just flipping through the book now. Oh yeah. Wrong phrases.
And looks back at you and goes, "You're not my type, sweetheart."
Oh, may not be your type, but do you know who was your the person who might have been your type? Schmitty. Because the fact that you've told me that you've been slowly dropping money with him during this time means that perhaps maybe not everything here is as it seems, and you've had a special deal. Now, these 500 gold pieces for 500 gold pieces, yeah, that's something that would help the tax office. But ultimately, if you can sell me a bigger fish, help me find someone who owes the department a lot more money, I can probably let this go, and we probably didn't end. Hell, I wouldn't even have to worry about compliance audits for the next year.
The dopey farm boy sort of looks over and goes, "He done asking you to be a snitch, Ma." And she looks back and she goes, "I know that, you idiot. Shut up." and Braca kind of goes, "No." But he's sort of his club is at high ready, and you look and the club is probably the size of you, and 500 gold or someone who's okay. I mean, I could tell you about anything that's going on here, really. I mean, that's what a barmaid knows best. It's all of the goings on in this little town.
Yeah.
I could. What do you want to know?
Oh, there's this guy that the Office of Civil Revenue has been interested in for a while, and he tells them of, was it that Gorzol
Kesh?
Yeah,
yep.
tells them Gorzol Kesh's general appearance, and it's he's owing the department a lot of back taxes. I think if we could, if you could help us find him, we could forget your any debt that you've had now or debt that you might ever accrue in the future.
Oh, small man. Oh, she says, "I thought for a moment maybe you were cleverer than you looked. And then you asked me about Gorzol Kesh. You know what they call Gorzol Kesh?" "No, you probably don't." "No."
Howard leans in and goes,
"There's
"You could be surprised about what I know."
There's a good chance that neither of us live. Just mentioning his existence. So you come back with your guardsman and you're fine, and I'll give you your 500 gold. So I can't tell you that."
Who said mention him? Perhaps you can tell me to fuck off, but tell me where to go if I wanted to look for, say, a place to eat at or a place to buy things at afterwards.
So I'm going to get you to roll a persuasion check. I'm going to tell you now that the DC based on the encounter so far is very high.
All right. I imagine is it a flat check because the act defeat's counteracted by disadvantage?
I will let you have the act defeat for this because this is what you were born to do.
Okay.
And you managed to know about Schmitty.
Yeah. Oh, come on! Come on, my rolls have been dog shit all game.
A 15 persuasion means that
wouldn't be
she
enough.
doesn't decide to
No.
immediately kill you.
Okay.
So that's a win because sub 10, you're probably going to roll for initiative. At this point, she sort of shakes her head, looks at Ophion and looks back. She's trying to work out which one of you is the smart one. And then
She could just hear my little shanty tune in the background.
we'll cut away here, and I'll let you I'll let you have the benefit of a few minutes of small talk with
Sure.
Maeve and see if that does anything for us. We'll cut back to Malixis,
Sure.
and you strike up a little tune on the viola, and probably sort of 10 or 15 minutes later, and mind you, it's after sunup, but it's probably about 7 in the morning. A reedy, thin sort of half elf, very pale complexion, very sort of dark hair, sort of sallow eyes, black leather, everything, black leather wristbands, many various piercings, and a dwarven woman in stout, good beard, and both of whom have lutes over their shoulders, come over to you and sit down, and they don't throw any coin into your hat. They do, however, open a flask and pour a generous measure of what appears to be some kind of moonshine, and they each take a cup and they pass you a cup, and they sort of sit and just kind of, they start to jam with you almost. They just kind of get a little bit of an early morning jam session going, and you can tell just by looking at them, this is not the first drink they've had this morning. So this is Pen and Rook.
Pen and Rook.
Yeah. So Pen is the stick thin guy, and Rook is the big, the sturdy dwarf, and they're both sort of bardy types.
Yeah. So I was going to point out, I was playing sort of like an elven shanty song, specifically because the musical notes of elven songs tend to irritate orcs because they consider it effeminate and weak, based on the fact that it's, especially on instruments like the viola. I was actually trying to irk some people to draw some attention. So I'm going to take a little pause and chat with Pen and Rook while we're jamming.
Yeah.
A nod to Pen.
So these guys, like Pen, the tall, thin, sallow sort of, yeah, man, like, whoa, it's been a while since like someone was here to like jam with us, man, like, whoa. And the dwarf kind of looks at him and looks back and goes, hey, I'm Rook. This is Pen. Don't drink too much of that moonshine. It's addling his brain. There hasn't been a lot to do here, and it's nice to see another traveling musician, another bard.
Yeah, I'm just passing through. I'm more of a hobbyist than a career bard, but I do enjoy it. What brings you two here?
Truth be told, we had lined up a week performing in the city in a tavern, and it was a pretty sweet jam. It was, bed and food and board and a good little per diem, but there was some unpleasant, and Pen sort of goes, yeah, man, like, fuck the man, this like authoritarian patriarchy, it's fascism, bro, like, whoa. And Rook goes, yeah, there was some unpleasantness with new regime, and we don't really have much in the way of papers or money. And so they beat the living shit out of us, and we fled in the night, and this is where we ended up.
Who's the guards? Did you say? Trying to
Yeah,
get into the
those
city?
no, this is in the town. This is those special Lords Alliance police, the Kalen Mears people, the task force guys, the thugs.
They came in.
Yeah.
They came into
They
town,
came
did they?
into the they came yeah, they've been in the they're in the town, and they were checkpoints and some discussion at the tavern got a bit political. Some punches were thrown. The city guard didn't get there before these guys got there, and then it got blown out of all proportion.
Right. Was there? Hold on. My kind of squeak off my viola. Was there a fight before they arrived? A conflict with someone?
There was there's a lot of unrest. People are, a lot of people are very unhappy.
Yeah.
Like families are being torn up, and it seems like only the rich and powerful are being protected. Someone, and she kind of looks pointedly at the like super emo half elf dude, said something very loudly in the bar, and while we were having a break, and it turned into a bit of a melee. And then the guards were coming, but these special policemen all turned up first, and then of course when it became clear that it was sort of politically motivated, everyone copped the flogging.
Is there anyone in town, and I kind of drop my voice at this point, just say that no one's going to mess with?
Here.
Yeah.
You'd be pretty ballsy to try anything with Matron Maeve.
Right. And I look over.
I saw her clean knockout a traveling bounty hunter like last week when he said something about her appearance. But she's just a tough old lady, and she's just making a dollar and helping to, I guess, get people fed. Look, people come and go. There's some faces that we see come and go. There are some faces that hang around. Who are we afraid of?
Yeah.
Not really anyone here, and the half-elf dude's like, nah, man, not afraid of anyone. Just like peace and good vibes.
Peace and good vibes. Peace and good vibes. Who were you in the fight with, though?
Just some like
randoms
in the pub, like someone who felt that Sir Kalen Muir was doing a good job and was protecting people, and crime was better and under control, and I felt that I needed to like correct him, and that was a mistake.
Is that person still here?
Oh no, this was in the city. This was in Waterdeep.
Oh, it's in the city.
So
you got in the city and you got kicked
above
out.
the table. They were performing in a tavern.
All right, so you got into the city.
Yeah,
I thought you got blocked in the city.
Yeah, no. They fled from the city after the secret police beat the crap out of them.
Yeah, righto. All right.
Okay. We'll cut back across to Ophion and Harold, and matron Maeve's now sharpening the carving knife, which in fairness was one of the 28 things that you demerited her on, was the sharpness of the implements. But there is something very passionate about the way that she's sharpening the knife while she's looking at you. What do you guys want to do?
Harold decides to change tack and go, and now he goes, okay, how about I sweeten the pot? And he offers up 10 platinum pieces and a writ from the Chancellor themselves, like saying that they will not collect taxes for this person for the next decade.
Can you just have this on you?
The 10 platinum is from Pale Lark, when we from
Yep.
that last time. I think.
Yeah, no, I
I
was just,
can't remember.
do you just carrying around a Chancellor's writ, or are you planning to forge this in front of them, or?
We do have a writ. Harold actually from the very first episode still has a writ of passage containing the Chancellor's signature and seal. He could keep the signature and seal and easily remove the ink from the top of it and rewrite the rest of it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Look, she's no tax, you say.
No tax for 10 years.
That would be a mighty fine thing, as long as you don't die like Schmitty did.
Yeah,
Then,
I mean,
okay. All right. What can I? You give me the paperwork before you leave town, and you tell me what you want to know. I'll tell you one thing.
Okay.
And it's not about Kesh, because it's not worth it.
Yeah. How about the people around him? Perhaps people who would. How about people who would deal with him?
Yes. Okay. All right. So you strike a bargain for the princely sum of 10 platinum. So you've negotiated on a Trump level here, where you went from 400 gold owing to giving her 100, and so she's pretty pleased with herself, really. She says there's a Sylvain Orr. He's a broker or a fixer he's a man who can get things. And in this moment, she sounds exactly like you when you were describing how you had connections in the Thieves Guild. That's his shiny red tent just over there. And she points to the little sort of red circular tent and just across the way. He would be, if Gorzol Kesh came through a place like this, Sylvain Orr would know. If anything happens here, there's a good chance that he's involved.
Okay. Harold then nods and goes, "You'll have your writ by the end of the day." And then as he's leaving, he looks at Ophion and just shrugs and goes, "Art of the deal."
And as you go, Braca, the half giant, bends down to put his hand on your head and gently pats you and goes, "Good decision," and then lets you leave. Okay, so you guys, are you heading towards the red tent, or are you?
Harold will let Malixis know and then suggest going to the red tent unless anyone else has any suggestions.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yep.
As you guys walk to the red tent, Malixis, you weren't really trying to be stealthy. You kind of walked in and set up Viola. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'll get all three of you to roll a perception check.
Where is it?
So Malixis is getting high off the off gases, off of pen. Ophion kind of missed what was going on there, and Harold also missed it. Okay, so none of you actually notice that guy disappears at some point after Malixis arrives, and out the front of this red tent is in fact just a little goblin, a bit of a shaman, druidy sort of guy. He's very in touch with earth type vibes, like a loincloth and lots of bracelets and necklaces of natural stone and so forth. He sees you guys coming towards the tent. He goes, "Master not here. No master today. Come back tomorrow." Harold
goes to first presses his message to a message. What is it? That's the Shattered Sigil pin, and just to the group goes, "Malixis, just bear with me for a bit. Not knowing Malixis's history with this guy, with this other guy, and he goes, I have something that I need to meet with your master urgently. Otherwise, we'll have to look for a different broker elsewhere. And then he nods at Malixis and goes, I have some property that I need to trade. Harold is unaware of Malixis' backstory and does not know that this is could be a very touchy subject.
Remind me that I need to put a trigger warning at the start of this one for human trafficking.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just going to push my sigil. Do you think he's in there?
I was like, this is
Not
maybe,
with your
maybe
perception,
not.
with sub 10 perception checks. He could be. There's a lot of noise.
Yeah, maybe not, but maybe he can get him back. High value item. He could put. He's looking to make a buck. I know his reputation as a trader.
Nibs looks at you and he goes, "Master's with a very important client, and he asked not to be disturbed. There is an express fee if you need urgent service. That can always be arranged." But he looks at you and looks over at Malixis and says, "Master has no need for any help at the moment. Master is very happy with Nibs."
Okay. Harold just thinking, oh my god, I just traded away 100 gold pieces. Checks what he has left, and in his inventory, I think from another evil villain that the group felled at some point, finds a diamond ring that's worth 100 gold pieces, and think this is the most expensive mission yet, and goes, would this do for the express fee? And he offers up the diamond ring.
You see this little goblin who's like dirty and grimy and very, very primal in their appearance, suddenly gets out like a little jeweler's loop and starts examining the ring. Yes, Empress cut, M clarity. This is acceptable. Hold, please. And he steps back into the tent with the ring and disappears from view.
Harold then just presses the rest of the sigil and goes, remind me to send an invoice to Percy.
Yes, when Percy does the tax for this mission, he might be concerned. But fortunately, his friend Schmitty should be able to sort it out. So, okay. A moment or two later, the little goblin man comes back and he says, "Master will see you now. Only you. No weapons." And he reaches out as if to give you a pat down.
Well, Harold, they can pat down, like, I need these two with me. These are my servants.
I'm just playing the viola again.
And Ophion, are you playing the servant role?
Yeah, I'm clutching all my satchel with paperwork and everything. So when he mentioned to remind Percy that to claim this ring on the tax deduction, I've carefully written it down in my notebook and popped it away.
Okay. All right. Harold, you're presumably going to want to conceal your various weapons and things. Do you want to roll a sleight of hand for me?
Yeah. I'm not sure if you remember, but if you look in my inventory, Harold already has most of his weapons already pre-hidden as certain items.
Yeah, they're all various. Yeah, they're all kind of props. Yeah.
The rapier is a walking stick. The short bow is actually a basket. Is actually the handle for a basket.
Roll the sleight of hand with advantage.
Okay.
It's not a high DC, but you guys have been rolling like balls.
I know, right?
Okay, no, 10 will do it. And in fact, you rolled 22. So he doesn't find anything on you. He goes, "Okay, Master, we'll meet you now." And roll a perception check for me,
Sure.
Both of you, Harold and Ophion, and Malixis, if you're close enough. If you've just
First one's 10. 13.
Perception.
First one's 13, sorry.
That's a dirty 20.
Okay. Neither of these guys notice, but how Malixis, you notice that Nibs definitely lifts something from Harold's pocket.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
So yeah, so only Malixis saw that. Yeah, the pat down was a pickpocket, and he leads you around the back to Sylvain Orr, who is just in this sort of clearing behind his little tent. And there's there's sort of his horses there. It seems to be like one of the only horses around in the camp. It's nice and seems to be well cared for in a camp of people who are struggling to make ends meet. And Sylvain Orr is tall. He's got this sort of very subtly red skin, and just the faintest sort of impressions of horns hidden beneath fairly sort of luxurious Fabio sort of hair, and he looks at you and at Nibs, and Nibs says, "Sorry, Master, sorry, but Mr. Oswald from the Office of Civil Revenue," he says in a not entirely believing sort of way, has urgent business with you, and he promised that he could make good on any express fee that you might need to charge. The ring is not visible. The ring is gone.
Okay. Harold reminds himself to try to mentally pickpocket this goblin back later, and he goes, "Oh yes." And then he goes, but I think we can dispense with any charades here. And then Harold tries to speak in Thieves' Cat to Sylvain to see if he can be put in touch with
Kesh.
like Kesh. Yep.
Yeah. And he looks at you and goes, "Oh, full of surprises, Mr. Orville. Interesting that you should mention my associate. Not many people knew he was here. I'll have to speak to someone about our operational security." And you see the little goblin looks sort of a bit nervous. "How do you know Mr. Kesh?"
You could say that we previously worked together on a number of different jobs.
I see. Okay. Oh, that would make sense. The man has been around a million years. He's very busy. It was a short mission. He came into town and is due to ride out again before noon. I can try and make you some time with him, obviously for a price.
Harold at this point is just fed up with this for a price shit, and he goes, just tell him that I have something that he wants, and he indicating Malixis. All of this is being spoken in Thieves' Cant, so to keep it quiet. And then on a piece of paper, he draws a weasel, with a crown on it, and then slides it and give him this as well.
He looks at it, looks at you, and then walks off into the bush behind you there, and kind of disappears from view for a moment. As he goes, he turns to Nibs and says, give Mr. Tuggins back his ring." And Nibs hands over your 100 gold diamond ring back to you sheepishly and apologetically. And a few moments pass, and you see Sylvain is returning with a figure that you certainly the outline seems to match with what you expect for Gorzol Kesh. So they're coming back through the forest. Quickly back to Malixis. You've closed up with the rest of the group?
Yeah.
Okay. So what you see, Guy, a 6 foot tall, hooded, cloaked, very dark skinned, half orc, but more on the orc side of the fence, sharp facial tusks and very finely made robes, and sort of carries himself with a high sort of degree of deportment, but also gives you the strong sense of somebody who is not to be messed with. And this Gorzol Kesh strides across the room. Harold, roll a luck check, so just a d20, just to see what your last encounter with him was like.
Yeah.
Oh, pretty positive. Okay. He strides across and he firmly sort of grips you by the hand and almost kind of lifts you in the air. He goes, Mr. Tuggins, the Weasel King. As I live and breathe, I thought you were dead.
Yeah. Oh, stories
I went
of
to
my
at least
death.
2 of your funerals.
Well, as you know, stories of my death have been greatly exaggerated.
Yes. How is it that you came to find me here? I need to talk to someone about my security. And he starts to glare at Sylvain Orr, who looks like he's doing that sort of gulping, pulling at his neck sort of situation.
Well, as you know, your business is my business. We've worked together in the past, and I was hoping we could perhaps trade with each other once again.
Interesting. I am on a flying visit, but for old time's sake, what did you have in mind?
He says, well, I'm sure you've heard about everything that happened at that event. What was that? The
ball.
The ball that happened 6 months ago.
Oh yes, hideous news. Very, very terrible. Sad they didn't get more of them killed.
I know. These noblemen, like drinking fine wine while the rest of the gate toils away. It's despicable, absolutely. But I've been offered quite a large sum of gold if I could perhaps capture the person who did this. It would help clear some. I feel like it's something we could both mutually benefit from. This Pale Lark, as you hear about it.
Roll a persuasion check with advantage.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god. Okay, at least that's better.
19.
Mm.
The Pale Lark, you say? You came here to this God-forsaken place on this day at this time to ask me about the pretend cultist. What an unusual coincidence.
Coincidence?
He's who I was here to see.
Oh, splendid. It feels like we can, let's say, kill 2 cultists with 1 stone.
I don't know that that's a real saying. But
I like it.
I must confess that his work is quite lucrative, so in recognition of our years of civility to one another, I won't kill you outright, but I would want you to outbid him.
Well, what is he currently offering you?
Oh, this day trip was, and he jangles what is a a fairly substantial sort of chest, which sounds like it is very full. You, with your experience, eyeball the size of the chest, the make and model, and its likely carrying capacity, and you suspect that this is something about the 5,000 gold, which is conveniently the current bounty on Pale Lark.
Harold will then say, well, I offer you in exchange for half the cost of the bounty, I will also offer you this fine gentleman right here. And he gestures towards Malixis. I know that you still traded commodities, and I feel this is a very, very healthy commodity.
He looks interested. Harold, roll an insight check. And Malixis, are you going along with this?
No.
No.
I actually speak to him in Orcish, which is one of my languages that I speak. And I just tell Gorzol that this man is an idiot. And I've actually tricked him into bringing me here. And I have nothing to do with anything to do with the Pale Lark, but I do just want a name from him, and then I'll make my way out of here.
What was, the insight roll was 20.
A dirty 20.
Okay. You see a look that starts interested, and as he approaches Malixis, there's almost a flicker of recognition or disgust or discomfort, and then Malixis says something to him in Orcish, and then he's looking at you, and it doesn't take a dirty 20 insight to understand that the deal is no bueno.
And how it is he just closes his eyes like shit. Then Harold goes, okay. So does it look like this guy's going to attack imminently? Harold?
No, he's he hustles at least as much as you. He understands that you may have just tried to sell your friend into bondage in order to achieve a deal. There's something about Malixis that made him uncomfortable before he spoke to him in Orcish, but you may just need to find a different or a better offer, or accept that you're not going to get the information that you want necessarily.
Okay. Harold then goes, okay, so maybe not this person in particular. How about a forgery of a writ of passage into the gate? Free access. You know that my forgeries are good.
He nods, he looks at Sylvain. He says, is there any market for such a thing? And Sylvain opens his jacket coat, and there's like a row of very finely made writs in his jacket pocket, and he closes the jacket back up. And so not particularly profitable, sort of small time, Harold, old chum. Is there anything else that you've got? I need to get underway. I need to be away from here post haste.
Harold just presses his pin and goes, I don't have $5,000, 5,000 gold on me to deal with. Do you guys have anything else to offer, or should we just knock him out and bring him in? And
I just look at him again, and I say to him again in Orcish, I'm like, you know whose name I want, give it to me, and we'll make this easy.
Ophion doesn't really know how to say it, but I think at the start of the adventure, Lord Percival said that the sewers were involved in this. Maybe if the Weasel King, which is completely new to Ophion, mentions the fact that the entrance to the sewers is going to be closed for business very shortly if things don't work out well with the Pale Lark. That may also...
You communicate that to Harold, and Harold passes on that threat.
Yeah, I'm trying to pass him a note, just to say the
Okay.
southwest, the sewers possibly threaten access to the city via the sewers.
Is that something Harold would use?
Harold potentially would use, not as a threat, but just saying, if this happens, this access to the sewers may be gone. This may affect your business.
You, on that 20 insight from before, mention of the sewers is a significant source of distress for both Gorzol and Sylvain. And you see that they're suddenly paying more attention to you.
Harold just presses his pin and goes, Ophion, not just a pretty face after all.
It's scribbling again on a piece of paper.
At about this moment, there is a reasonable sort of commotion, but it's been very few arrivals into camp this morning, except for you four. And there's
and the cleric.
And the cleric passed through. Cleric left, and then there's been some people that you didn't really see come and go, and you kind of look back over your shoulder now, Malixis going off the 20 perception from earlier, and you see two war horses, two mounted soldiers, very brightly sort of gleaming armor, at a near sort of gallop into town from the south, and you see, kind of looking around, there's sort of mixed reactions to this. You see almost immediately that Sylvain Orr mutters.
Sorry, ignore that.
Sylvain Orr mutters something under his breath and becomes invisible. And that some of the people around the town make themselves less conspicuous. Some people make themselves more conspicuous, and a knight and squire ride into the middle of the town and dismount and start sort of interacting with the villagers.
How is Gorzol reacting to the squire? Is he melting back into the forest, or is he seem unconcerned?
Gorzol looks confident. He was already on a tight timeline. He did not want to stay, and it was only that his old friend, and I think I can't remember what the young people are calling it these days, but what do you call it when you've had the same partner as someone else, like a
Eskimo buddy.
Eskimo buddy, yeah, his Eskimo buddy Harold.
Tunnel buddy, I believe is.
No,
that's what the young people are calling it. Yep.
Yeah.
That was the only reason that he stayed. He seems unperturbed. He's pretty unflappable. The only thing that you saw that made him the two things that have made him sort of uncomfortable. One was threatening the tunnel, and the other one was when he got close to Malik. But at this moment, he sort of turns to Harold and says, "Well, I think that signals that our business must be at an end. It's wonderful to see you, old chum, and to catch up. And I guess do send me a pigeon when it's time for the next funeral."
And Harold goes, well, wait, don't you want us? But if you can just tell us where Pale Lark is, or where we can meet him, and we will make sure the steels remain open.
Oh, in about an hour's time, it won't really matter where Pale Lark is, he says, Gorzol Kesh. And he smiles, he bows politely to all of you. He glares ominously at Malixis, and then he dimension doors, and he's gone.
Nah, I've got his horse.
Clearly, that's not his horse.
So you've got a horse.
I have a horse.
and
according
to the Dungeon Master's Guide, that is like 100 gold pieces. So like net profit, Malixis, 100. Net profit, Harold.
We got the diamond ring back, didn't he?
You did get the
We
diamond
did, but
ring
we
back.
still spent 100 gold pieces. So
Still got
negative
the
loss.
tax receipt saying we used it as a bribe, Harold. It's all right.
In this time, you see these two armored figures dismounting and walking around the town, and you see one of them briefly sort of looms over the sallow half elf emo bard, and there's almost a flash of divine magic, and the emo bard seems to look much more like alert and active and healthy, even looking. A little bit of color returns perhaps to the skin, and you see there's a dog that's sort of wandering around the village, and the squire takes some dried meat from their saddlebags and feeds it to the wandering dog, and you see that they're both wearing male, pretty sort of high quality gear, and you can make out the symbology of their standards and their armor and things. It's the scales of balance. So they're somehow associated with Tyr, the deity of justice and balance, and it makes it likely that these are Order of the Gauntlet, which is a noble order separate from all of the governments and major sort of social structures. They're a very separate order of paladins and clerics.
Is Nibs still
On-
within grasping range?
Very briefly, yes.
Ophion kind of gestures to Harold and possibly Malixis if Malixis is
Malixis has got a new
done
horse, man. He's
threatening
like,
the horse.
it's his second. I should get you to roll a second animal handling check. See if the first one was a.
That's right.
Yeah.
So who was the lieutenant?
It's just
for
all horses.
Gorzol
There you go.
He also disappeared, did he?
Yeah, correct. So the camp broker went invisible, so it's
Yes,
likely he's
right.
still here, and you're pretty sure that's his horse. And then Kesh, definitely it was teleportation magic, so he's gone.
Ophion wonders, he pulls out his receipt for this diamond ring. He's like, look, Nibs, we've already claimed this as an expense. 500 gold pieces for this diamond ring, or however much you think it's worth, and free passage out of town on the next ship sounds pretty good. If what your boss said, that if in an hour's time it's not going to matter where we know where the Pale Lark is, it seems like something bad is going to happen, and right now you seem to be the top of the food chain of this criminal enterprise. The only one we
Roll
can
an
get hands on.
intimidation check.
Sure.
Can I stand
Harold
behind
get the
him
help
on my
action?
horse?
Yeah,
Private.
yeah. Go ahead, roll it with
Well,
advantage.
I don't know if
Jens.
that's going to help. -1. One definitely
Well-
not the advantage. It went from a natural 1 to a 16 on the dice.
The little goblin, he looks at you. He looks at Harold, who he doesn't know, but the bosses were treating with a degree of sort of deference and respect. He looks over at the giant crocodile man who's molesting his boss's horse. He looks around to see like these knights of Tyr that have just arrived.
And he's been abandoned by everyone higher up.
And he's literally been abandoned by everyone higher up. And he opens his jacket pocket, and he reaches out to you, Harold, and hands back over the healing potion that he stole. So you'll need to put that back in your inventory.
Yeah,
It's just a normal healing potion. And he says, I don't know where you're Mr. Lark is. I just know that it had something to do with an important arrival at lunchtime, which is now, and a special cage.
Right. And the cage obviously rings a bell in Ophion's mind. And yeah, Nibs, if I had to go to the bathroom somewhere, where's the closest sewer entrance around here?
He points across the road, sort of northeast. It's just beyond the tents. On that side, it's fenced, but I don't suspect that the fence will be a huge problem for you. But it has a big sort of mechanical seal, and there are some magic wards and other things, and so they tell us not to go near it or we'll be sick. But it's over that way.
Magic wards. I imagine someone such as you would have at least overheard some sort of passphrases or hopefully magic words to bypass any of these arcane.
Oh no, Master says I'm not to go. Master says I'm not to go. That only Master says I'm not to go down there. That is death.
Right. Deliberately talks to Harold Tuggins and says, "Well, I suppose it's a great shame that we didn't manage to get anyone of any importance out of this little encounter. It seems like the two, Kesh and his lieutenant, managed to get away. It seems like a jeweler is not really worth the trouble of dragging back through the gates."
A jeweler?
Nibs was the one that assessed the.
Oh yeah.
He did have little. Yeah, he did have little jewelers loop.
She's
Oh, yes.
Ophion's
Oh,
trying to give Nibs the opportunity to get the flock out of town.
Yeah.
No,
sort of
he's
looks
not.
at me
He's
and
not
goes,
encouraging Harold to
yeah,
dispose
you
of
guys
him, but
see.
just giving
Yeah,
Nibs
just-
the
No.
opportunity to.
Thank you. Nibs is sort of backing away slowly and sort of, I'm just, if Master's right, then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. And you see him sort of disappear into the bush. Disappear into the bush. It skitters across the road and off towards the other side of the camp.
Well then, I guess Harold just looks at Malixis and goes, "I guess you have a horse now."
I think-
What time would you say it
You-
is, Harold? Would you say
You hear a
midday, 2 minutes to midday?
you hear a shouted voice from the forest. Fuck off my horse!
It's a shame that the other guy wasn't
No.
here to just take his horse back.
I actually ride with the horse over to the others.
And you handle
Say-
it.
Do you think maybe that paladin is in trouble based on what they've all been saying about the Pale Lark being here in an hour for a very important arrival?
I think Ophion's legs. I think the hour is upon us, judging from the conversation we've just had.
If Malixis rolls the animal handling, and I'll give you a free survival check. The sun is directly above you right now.
I rolled a 13 before. the
Okay,
animal
perfect.
Oh,
Okay.
Before we
all
do
right,
that,
then
though,
he
Harold
doesn't throw you off.
handling.
Harold also can cast animal friendship and speak with animals as well because he has a ring
I
of
thought
animal
that was
friendship.
only for birds.
You didn't.
I'm
you
already
didn't
on the
specify.
horse.
He's already on a horse.
He's already on the
ring
horse.
says,
It's happened now.
Yeah, yeah.
Is this you going to try and stitch him up in return for the orcish thing and tell the horse to?
Oh no, it was more just that way. Let Malixis stay on the horse if there was an attempt to buck him off.
No. So there's now a 7-foot crocodilian riding a fairly substantial sort of draft horse, which looks pretty fucking imposing, to be fair. Yeah. So you get the sense that it is the lunch time. It is the time where the people who know what was going on have tried to leave, and you get a sense that if something's going to happen, it's going to be soon.
Ophion is trying to figure out. So you said we couldn't really tell if the fresh cage is in that it had been used to transport
It
something,
looked
or
pretty.
was
It looked pretty
awaiting,
fresh. It looked like it was waiting for something. Like it
waiting for
was
someone to go
relatively
into it
unused. Yeah.
rather than carried something and then
Yeah.
released.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Are they going to try and
Ophion's-
kidnap this paladin?
Oh yeah, Ophion's
Hmm.
confused. He's like, Harold, you're more worldly than I am. Is this something? This cage seems to be referenced. Is this something that do you think it's been used to bring an ambush to this, or do you think they're trying to capture someone from the Order of
I tell
Balance?
Penn and Rook that they should move along out of town.
Yeah. Harold tells Ophion,
The
actually,
the
you might be
the
right. We should.
Pen goes, yeah, man, yeah, we should always keep moving, yeah. And Rook goes,
Maybe just for the immediate future, make yourself scarce.
That's a good
I think
call. That's
There's a
good call.
really
We
nice
might-
field over there with some really nice soft grass. You'll be able to lie down, and the textures are otherworldly. Just go over there, and I just point
Hey.
south. Get out of town.
Yeah, the two bards you get what you're putting down, and they start to make their way out of town. And so as they go, actually, Penn leaves you leaves your book. He says, "This is for your tall friend. It's a book about stills. It's how I made the still."
Ophion would be very glad. Yeah.
I take the book from him. I'm like, thanks, mate. Move along.
You see that the knight and squire have sort of done the rounds of glad handing people and a few lay on hands and some bread and so forth, and that all of the troublesome elements of the town seem to have shied away from them, and they're sort of starting to kind of mount up to get back on their horse and ride towards the city gate.
Is it possible?
Yeah,
Is it an
Harold's
ambush?
actually. Yeah,
I
that's
have-
what Harold was wondering.
Yeah, I was
And
wondering if
yeah,
Ophion could use the message, which he has not related to the earring, to communicate with both the squire and the knight that there is some mischief afoot and to be wary.
That's word for word what you say, or something along those lines? There's specifics.
Ophion doesn't really know specifics.
Yep, no, that's fine.
maybe be
You
wary of the
see,
cage.
Attack is
as you-
attack. I believe an attack is imminent, and mention a friend from the Lord's Alliance, and then I'm not sure if they need to know
Yep.
where this message is coming from. But...
Yep. Okay. You hear some because they can reply, but neither of them do. You get no real sort of verbal response, but you see as you say the words, hands go to pommels of swords, and gauntlets are tightened, and shields are lifted off of carriers, and you get the sense that they're much more alert than perhaps they otherwise would have been on the last leg of riding into town, but they move to sort of depart. Is anyone proficient in religion?
I don't think so.
No.
No. Okay. Good. Or history?
No.
No.
Okay.
Are they riding horses?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, no, sorry.
Animal
So it's
handling
like,
check.
You're
it's
going to
animal
talk to the
handling pass.
horses?
Yeah, Harold's just gonna pretend to be an old elderly gentleman and goes, "Oh, your horses seem so cute. May I please?"
Having just been told an attack is imminent.
I love it. Ophion's like,
this
watch out.
This little halfling man comes. This little
Trust no one.
The older knight, and at this sort of distance, he's a strong, powerful guy. Like there's, you don't have a lot of experience with religious orders, but this guy is pretty well sort of decked out. The armor looks of good quality. It's sort of gold and even some platinum in some of the elements of the armor, and there looks to be some glyph work on one of the weapons that he's carrying. This is a pretty powerful sort of dude, and you see he looks at you, and he kind of almost looks through you for a moment. And you cast. Did you saying speak with animals?
If I can get close enough, yes.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, they haven't sort of canted off yet. They're now,
Yeah.
I guess, taking stock of what they're going to do because of this last minute message. So yeah, you can speak to the animals. I think it's 30 feet, so I think you should be fine.
Either way, yep. Howard then goes to the animal and says, "Hey, look, I think there's a chance that someone may try to attack you and your masters. Be wary of any big silver cages nearby."
That's
I just
that's
kind
good
of
advice.
speak to
It's
it.
good life advice. Yeah.
In general.
I speak through
Yeah.
the sigil. It's like, could we find them an alternate route into the city that avoids this checkpoint and thwart this?
There are, that there are other gates to the city. You know that
The
most
sewers.
of the traffic is being routed, like most traffic is going through the Lord's Gate. It's this gate, as the sergeant had said, there's not a lot of traffic coming through here. They've been told to keep it pretty closed. So it seems sort of like it's a little odd or out of place, perhaps, that they're choosing to come this way and not the way that most traffic is going, particularly someone of what appears to be some importance.
Actually, yeah, that's probably a good idea. Tell them to use a different gate. That almost certainly solves the problem.
Yeah, we just have to avoid.
Okay, so is that you guys going to communicate that to them?
Yeah, Harold will then go, after talking to Horse, he then goes, I was told that this gate had a lot of ambushes. I know a number of people. A cleric just got robbed here recently. Perhaps you should take one of the other gates with a lot more foot traffic.
Roll a persuasion check with advantage.
Oh, come on. Yeah, I really need advantage on this. I don't know. But it's terrible. It's been terrible.
You see the knight confers with his squire briefly, and the squire says, "My lord, I bade you that we go the Lord's Gate, and you insisted that this gate was faster. You insisted that this would save us a half day's travel. We'll lose a half day to go around. And I'm at your service, but this is a matter of some urgency. This was why you chose the direct path." And you kind of hear them muttering amongst themselves, and so within like 20 feet of them currently, it's really just the three of you, right?
Yeah.
So and Harold has just deliberately sort of said something about an ambush, and they got a message cantrip, and Malixis is looking mildly suspicious on the horse that is obviously like saddled for someone much smaller than him,
Yeah.
and so the whole thing's kind of just giving them some vibes. So I'm going to roll their decision as a luck check at this point, because the factors for and against for them are pretty much the same at this point.
Just portray the paladin as Zank out of Dungeons and Dragons. Just like, no, this is the route that I've chosen. This is, and just
yeah.
everything. Just like,
This is the way. This is the way.
This
In
is
the words
the way.
of in the words of Mando. Let's do it. So 10 or under, they're going to continue on to this gate. 11 or higher, they're going to change course.
I was like, was that a secret roll?
I didn't think it was. I was rolling to stealth. That's not very fucking helpful.
Ooh.
12.
Okay.
All right. We'll have to accept the half day and ride around. This is most peculiar. And you see the paladin. He sort of looks down at you, Harold, and looks at sort of the three of you. I'm not sure who you are, why you're here, but the shining light of justice says that you are not my enemy in this moment, and you have, I hope, steered me true in a matter of grave danger, and I thank you. And he introduces himself briefly. His name is Caladrin Vare. He is a knight commander of the Order of the Gauntlet, which you can go away and learn about later on. He gives you sort of a snappy nod, and they turn and wheel around and ride away to the south, where they probably come across two fairly drunken high bards halfway down the road. But that's okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, it being 10:30, and I am to tell you that you have just successfully avoided what would have been the main trigger for a combat encounter. We could draw a line in the sand here and wrap it up, or if there's anything specifically you guys wanted to explore, say wanted to know more about the sewer, or go back and look at this checkpoint situation, or if you equally decided that you know enough to return to town now and just give the intelligence to Percival and let him sort it out, I'll put it back to you guys, because I think anything else that we do now is not gonna be a 10 or 15-minute job.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Ophion would like to quickly have a chat with Malixis or Snappy, and just like Snappy, I'm not sure if was I missing something between Kesh and you? Do you think he had something to do with your previous condition? Do you think he was involved at a distance, or how long ago was this? Is it possible that he was directly involved in this and laid hands on you?
I don't know that he was directly involved, but I know that he is a likely connection to the person or to someone that is directly linked to my servitude. I don't know if Arek's told you anything, but I was taken as a hatchling from my family. And I suspect, and I pull out the manacles that I'm sort of holding, which are the teeny tiny little manacles, for sort of an infant dragonkin that I was. I believe that these are adamantine from the Underdark, and that my initial captor was a slaver, a drow slaver. And beyond that, I'm trying to figure out where to go from there. And I know that Kesh deals in the slave trade and has done for a great many years, and is likely to be aware of who I'm searching for.
So you haven't made it a secret of you're searching for the slaver that took you? He seemed to have a personal response to you.
It has been up until now something I've kept more to myself.
You kept it. I don't think you were open. I think actually a lot of the just learning to read, you kind of kept that pretty close to your chest as well. I think.
Yeah. So Ophion is trying to explore Snappy's background a little bit, and willing to be Ophion's kind of do you think we need to get involved in this Kesh and make a bit more noise so he comes to us? If we interrupt this sewer business, which he seemed very touchy about,
this is something that I have not expressed to anyone. Murray in the library has been helping me learn to read, and over the past months, I sort of am reaching the point where I feel perhaps there are people, yourself, Ophion included, that I might be able to open up to, but it is not something that I've spoken to Arek about. but I am sort of reaching a dead end, and I think that my desire and need to find this person maybe has come out today, and so it feels like I should probably have told you. Hence
Harold
the
then
openness.
Harold goes, I now feel extra bad for offering to sell you back into the slave business, but to make amends, I will help you track down this trader Drow, or Trader Joe, maybe, as he seems like we could nickname him. And we can, and after we find him, you can do as you please.
Yeah, and Ophion is keeping to himself, but is a little bit shocked at the revelation that Harold, the Weasel King, as he may have been, not known previously, is like knew he was retired, but if he's been hanging out with slavers in his past, he's kind of reassessing the Mr. Tuggin's pigeon fancier persona.
Here's the thing, I
Hopefully,
think
it's not. Hopefully, he's not letting this show to.
Ophion's having an existential crisis of identity as he doesn't know anyone around him.
What is going on? So I suppose from Sean, you were asking from a player's perspective.
I mean, if you guys want to keep exploring Maeve is still waiting on her on her letter, so you guys could go and have a beer and talk about life and backstory.
Now that I've got a new book on how to fix the still, I'm just wondering from a story point of view, if we were we know that this sewer entrance was important to Kesh, we should do something about it.
Yep. Harold's way ahead of you. So he is gonna. So I think one of the other spells as part of the Sigil token is a once a day use of sending, to send 25 words or fewer to a creature you've met or previously described. Blah blah blah. We can send it across any distance. So essentially, we have 3 uses of sending between us. I'd say we could send one to Percy saying about the sewers, and then get someone to send another one to Percy again, by saying, hey, there was this night Sir Cadron was going to be was supposed to be attacked at this checkpoint. However, we sent them through a different gate. Please consider sending another team to investigate, or send a decoy to trigger the ambush.
Decoy?
Someone sentenced for death. Just send them. Send them. Give them their freedom and say, as long as you leave by this.
Dress
send
them
someone
in some
willing.
plate mail and then just shove them on the donkey towards the gate.
Plate mail's pretty expensive. That'll have to come out of Harold's budget.
That's right. Do we have sending, or is it a modified?
We have sending.
Yeah, so
we have
I
message
think,
and sending.
I was going to say when I wrote that, I think the pin is the concept of messages just to each other. The concept of sending was broadly a back to base, a sigil related communication type thing. So if you're messaging Percival, that should be fine.
All right.
If you're sending,
if we did
Percival,
have sending, we would be. I'm sure Malixis would be sending a message to Kesh saying, "Shit's about to get real."
Hey, you up? Hey.
25 characters a day can be really upsetting.
All right.
So if that's what you guys want to do, so you send some messages or use some sendings back to Percival to relay the findings that Kesh has slipped everyone's grasp. Sovereign is invisible and in the bush and probably could be hunted down, but is like little fish at this point. There's a potential attack on there's a potential attack on this paladin of the Order of Tyr, and Malixis has got a horse, and we need 10 platinum from the petty cash to replenish a failed bribe. Okay, and a diamond ring. I think you've still got the diamond ring.
He got the diamond ring back.
We do.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to claim, it, and this would be if you want to claim it, you're going to put your deception against Percival's record keeping.
Oh, I thought I was going to give it to Nibs to he can leave And as a
Oh
sweetener
no,
for the
he just
just
left with
left.
his life. He's pretty
Alright.
happy with just living on account of being left holding the
Mm.
bag. It's like it was
Well-
literally like the general of the crime family and like a captain have like fucked off and left like the first day private holding the. It's like I'm not going out for this.
Yeah.
In that case, then we'll wrap it up there, and I will give. I'll tell you a little of what happens over the next sort of 4 to 6 hours. So you actually we'll do the sendings to Percival. We'll do one of the or two of the sendings to Percival if you want to go and decide what you're going to tell him specifically.
Let me just try to come up with something that's 25 words.
This is always my favorite bit of Critical Role.
Yeah, that's
Trying to make the message fit in 25 words.
and the you can respond to this message is always the
Yeah, yes, and you can respond to this message. Yes, yeah, it's got to be in Bernardo's voice. Yeah.
Which gate was the attack going to be at?
So this is the southwest gate. So yeah, so he knows. Yeah, he knows which gate you guys were going through and which sort of little shanty town you were going to be dealing with. And in the meantime,
Okay.
yeah, it gives you a message.
Okay. So it's 21 words. Planned
Okay.
ambush of Caladrin Vale at Southwest Gate now. We sent him to Lord's Gate. Please investigate ambush with new team.
He you get back a clipped, pompous response from Percival. It's understood. Will arrange investigation. Is trap disarmed? And in fact, he sends you back a message because he then realizes that you don't have the ability to do that. He says, "Is the trap disarmed, or is it still? Are people still at risk?"
Okay, so we need trap not disarmed, people at risk. That's 6 words. Then goes. Then he also Harold also spent 200 gold pieces on bribe. Please reimburse. That's
Okay. And Malixis, you get a message back.
Also needs stable for horse.
Malixis, you get a message back that says you will reimburse you for the costs incurred because out of the savings, because you're not staying in the official fancy accommodation that we provided for you. So there's plenty of money in the kitty for you anytime you need. And you get the impression that the tone of voice and the collegiateness in his message to you is entirely different to what's happening in Harold's head. About 6 hours later, as you guys are planning, I guess, your adventure back in, or like your transit back into town, how you're going to approach that, there is a loud and terrifying sort of series of noises at the gate, where you can hear and see the guards on the city walls rushing. Ballistas are being manned and firing. There's a bell, and there's a recruit frantically ringing the alert bell on the wall, and you see this sort of fiery explosion that occurs, and then like a high fiend appear, like this enormous Yugoloth sort of looking fiend that's like roaring and thrashing, and you see the 2 mercenaries get flung like 40 feet in the air and collide with the wall. You see the like ballista bolts are firing. You see another team of mercenaries riding out from the gate to fight this enormous fiend, and you get a message back from Percival saying, "Trap disarmed. Safe to proceed via southwest gate in about 20 minutes." And we'll wrap up there.
Okay, sounds good.